Boston Celtics are in trouble. My name's Hawk, let's talk hoops. The Miami Heat impressed everybody and won both games in Boston. I'll be honest, going into this series, I probably expected Miami to win at least one of the two, but I did not expect or foresee at all them winning both. I have to start out with praising the Miami Heat. We'll get to the Celtics side of this in a second, because Miami Heat handled business. I gotta start out with Jimmy Butler. 35 points in game one, 27 points in game two, and down the stretch of the fourth quarter in game two, he just had his way with Grant Williams. Only buckets he scored in that fourth were on Grant. He didn't even score in the fourth quarter until around that 6-minute mark when Grant Williams and him got into it, and then he turned it on. In both game one and game two, the Heat just looked like they wanted it more. I gotta show some love to Gabe Vincent, Caleb Martin, Max Strus, Kyle Lowry, Duncan Robinson at times. I bring them up because they're all relatively undersized guards, but they've all been playing really good defense on the perimeter for the Miami Heat. And what I mean by that is when Spoelstra decides to go to that 2-3, they're committing to closeouts. They're trusting that Bam and Jimmy are behind them. Celtics are shooting, I want to say 31% from three this series. Yes, guys like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown can shoot over some of the perimeter guys that the Miami Heat have. They're just committing. They're making it a tough shot, and the Celtics aren't hitting them. I got to give some love to Duncan Robinson. This is a guy who, for almost the entire season, just was filled with DNPs. He was out of the lineup completely for the Miami Heat. And due to some injuries, they're missing Tyler Hero, they're missing Victor Oladipo. He was the next man up. He got 20 minutes in game two, was 3 for 6 from three, ended up with 15 points, making some smart cuts. Has he been perfect in the playoffs? No, he's had some good games, he's had some bad games, but he's been available and he's been there. I'm happy to see him back on the court. I got to get some love to Bam Adebayo as well. 20 points in game one, 22 in game two, but this game two was way more dominant in my opinion. Ended the game with 17 rebounds, had 2 big offensive rebounds down the stretch in that fourth quarter. The Miami Heat as a whole dominated the Celtics on the glass. They had 2 more rebounds than them, and Bam was a big part of that. Him being the anchor of that zone defense that the Miami Heat like to go to, allow Caleb Martin and Max Strus, like I said, to sell out on those closeouts and trust that he's got that back line covered. Bam Adebayo's really been impressing me with his playmaking as well. He did a couple of dribble handoffs with Caleb Martin and Max Strus in this game too. He found Duncan Robinson for a couple of backdoors when he was at the high post position. He's really done a good job of being a facilitator for this team and being an offensive hub. Switching gears to talk about the Celtics, this is a tough loss, especially this game two loss. You're up 9 with 6.5 left. Yes, that's a lot of time in the NBA. Anything can happen, but it really does feel like you let this one slip away from you. Jason Tatum doesn't make a field goal in that fourth quarter. Jaylen Brown ends up only going 1 for 3 in the fourth. Neither of them really shot the 3-ball well. Tatum was 3 for 10. Brown was 1 for 7. But like I was saying for the Miami Heat, I think in that fourth quarter, that zone really bothered the Boston Celtics. They weren't able to get clean looks up from 3. Down the stretch around that 3-4 minute mark, I thought they took a couple of threes they didn't need to take and were kind of forcing them because they didn't want the lead to get too far away from them. The Miami Heat shooters took advantage of a lot of the drop coverage that the Boston Celtics decided to play. Al Horford, Robert Williams, they love drop coverage. I talked about this last series when they played against the Sixers. I talked about this last year in the finals when they played against Steph Curry and the Warriors. And now we're talking about it again against this Miami Heat team that doesn't even have the same caliber of shooters, if we're being honest. But they keep doing drop coverage on these Bam Adebayo handoffs. They have to find a different way to defend that. Either go over that screen or Al and Robert Williams have to play up. And I get why they're playing drop, because Bam, if you let Bam roll to the basket, that's an automatic 2 points. But you gotta stop letting these Miami Heat shooters shoot. And then on the flip side of things, also defensively for the Celtics, down the stretch of that fourth quarter, there's no reason you should be switching everything as often. It was clear that Jimmy Butler was looking for Grant Williams to get to his spots. He was bringing Bam up, calling for the pick and roll, and y'all were switching every time. I don't know what the adjustment is. You send 2 at Jimmy to try to force a hedge and then keep Grant Williams on him. Do you switch up the matchup so Grant Williams isn't the one guarding Bam, so that switch doesn't happen? And then when the switch even did happen, y'all just let Jimmy go to work. There wasn't an effort to send an extra body over. There wasn't a zone look. Y'all just stayed in man and got abused in that fourth quarter with pick and rolls and switches. I will say one thing that was positive when I was watching this game. While Jason Tatum's 3-ball wasn't dropping, like I said, 3 for 10, he was impacting the game in other ways. Ended up with 13 rebounds, ended up with 8 assists. So he's getting to the glass, trying to make a little bit for his team. But going to Miami down 0-2, I don't see a way the Celtics come out of this series, if I'm being completely honest with you. And going into this series, I had the Celtics winning in 6. My boys in the group chat, and of course everyone on Twitter, is saying bring out the brooms. Miami's going to sweep. A sweep honestly would surprise me. I think the Boston Celtics can go down there and win 1, but they're not winning both in Miami. And so now you're down 3-1. I think it's going to be GG's. But let me know what you think. Let me know how you think the rest of this series is going to go. We got the Lakers versus Nuggets game 3 tonight. I'm looking forward to that game. I'll catch you in the next one. I'm out. Peace.